I used to be absolutely terrified of debt, all debt. Growing up in an immigrant family, I started working in my family's restaurant at age 13. I worked all through college, logging every single expense down to the penny because I knew if I ran out of money, my parents couldn't bail me out. Years later, when my husband Eric and I started working in tech, my ultimate goal was to live debt-free. We paid off my student loans, our car loans, and we were gearing up to pay off our mortgage. Then, in 2004, a friend handed us Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It introduced us to the concept of good debt, which puts money in your pocket, and bad debt, which takes money out of your pocket. I was highly resistant to the idea of taking on debt, but I was even more resistant to the weekly layoffs happening at my tech employer. I was watching brilliant colleagues laid off left and right, regardless of their contributions. I realized that someone in our family needed to carve out a new non-tech path if we wanted to survive in California. So in 2004, off I went to building passive cash flow in real estate. Fast forward 22 years to today, Eric and I own a portfolio of rental properties carrying 30-year fixed 3% mortgages. We owe more than $4 million in debt. Our properties pay for themselves, and we feel better and safer about our retirement than ever. But let me be completely honest with you. This journey was not easy, and it definitely was not passive. There were a lot of sleepless nights. I spent many nights sleeping on the floor or on cots while managing out-of-state properties. Through all of that, we learned a few hard truths that the internet gurus often leave out. Hi, my name's Elsie Wu. Eric and I are independent mortgage brokers and active real estate investors based in California. We have successfully transitioned from active tech jobs to actively building and managing our real estate-related businesses to owning rental properties for passive retirement income. We made some very costly mistakes along the way. Here are the top 3 things nobody tells you about good debt versus bad debt. Number 1, even good debt can become bad debt in difficult times. You could have a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage on a stabilized income-producing rental property, and disasters can still happen. A fire can damage the building. A deep-pocketed competitor can build a brand new complex right across the street. Your property can become functionally obsolete if you don't regularly update the amenities. Having good debt doesn't mean you can walk away. You have to be ready to defend your properties when times get tough. Number 2, with the right skills, you can turn bad debt into good debt. For example, bridge loans and short-term loans are universally labeled as bad debt because they have high interest rate and massive balloon payments. But if you have the experience and the holding power, a bridge loan can fund the capital improvements you need to attract better tenants and turn around a highly vacant property. A bridge loan can also enable you to buy before you sell, saving you massively on capital gains taxes. When you have the skills and the holding power, you can safely use bad debt to make highly strategic, highly profitable decisions. Number 3, you alone determine the merit of your debt. Don't delegate, don't relegate, and don't procrastinate. When we first started investing, we didn't understand balloon payments, loan guarantees, or yield maintenance. The professionals we hired either didn't understand them either because they didn't actually own investment properties, or they incorrectly assumed that we already knew. Needless to say, we took on some bad debt that we naively thought were good debt, and some good debt that went bad. At a more fundamental level, is the student loan good or bad debt? Is your primary residence good or bad debt? The answer is, it depends entirely on how you manage it. Our top 3 tips for anyone venturing real estate investing. Number 1, together with your spouse or significant other, clearly define what are sacred nest eggs that you will never touch or leverage. Your home, perhaps, or your retirement accounts. Define it and keep it safe. Number 2, get financially educated from all angles. Understand the property owner's perspective, the lender's perspective, your tenant's perspective, your competitor's perspective, and the government's perspective. Your understanding will go a long way to protect your financial future. Number 3, start early so you'd have time for the compounding to work in your favor and the time to recover if something goes terribly wrong. At the end of the day, debt is just a tool. The merit of that tool varies greatly based on your personal goals, your time horizon, and your ability to manage risk. It requires active management, continuous learning, and occasionally a willingness to sleep on a cot. If this video helped you rethink your relationship with debt, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever taken on a piece of bad debt that you managed to turn into a great investment? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.